Hello, good evening. So I'm sure like me, you were a happy-go-lucky child with questionable fashion and regrettable hairstyles. You had no job, no boss, no bills to pay, no mortgage, no HR complaints, and no front teeth. But then, life happens. Around the time that this picture was taken, my uncle began sexually abusing me. And I don't have to tell you that a child at that age is totally unprepared for that undeserved kind of trauma. I still have memories that haunt me to this day. Then in high school, I tried to figure out what that trauma was all about and how to deal with it. I also tried to figure out how to be a gay person in a small hockey community. I didn't have Glee or RuPaul's Drag Race or a gay straight alliance at my school. Nutella and mental illness was part of my daily routine. And I was diagnosed with PTSD, I was on antidepressants, battling anxiety, and trying to focus with ADHD. Around this time, I also got another surprise. This is my DNA chart. The pink is 23% sub-Saharan Africa. My parents are super white, blue-eyed, and Anglo-Saxon. I found out on the day that my father died that he wasn't my real father. Now, it's about this point where you are like these two drag queens and you're like, I want to get another drink and get the hell out of here. La 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 la. I don't want to hear this. This is making me so uncomfortable. And I get it. So let's take a moment now before we go any further to just breathe together. Let's breathe in really slow. Hold it. And let it out. Now, the common theme in my story was work. From paperboy to marketing professional, I still had to show up, I still had to participate, I still had to be the good employee. But what do you do with someone like me sitting beside you at work? Well, you start by working with empathy. You see, when we think about empathy, we think about putting ourselves in someone else's shoes or putting ourselves in the place of that other person to understand how they feel. So when I work with companies, I help them take empathy from theory to practical everyday activities. Because let's face it, you are not going to have a workplace of mental wellness without empathy. And empathy is sorely lacking today. Actually, mental illness seems to be on the rise all the time with more and more people struggling. So we can do something different by helping people with self-care and empathy for self. We can give empathic support to our team and our coworkers, and we can make an effort to reduce the stigma around mental illness in the workplace. Encourage your employees to use up their vacation time to hammock at the Grand Canyon like I did. Encourage your employees to use their benefits that help them get therapy if they need it. Let's foster workplaces of mental wellness, not places where people are overstressed, overtired, and depressed. Let's also build safety in the workplace. Did I feel safe enough to tell people I was on antidepressants or that my PTSD might affect my work performance? Did I feel safe enough to ask for support? Active listening is a pure demonstration of empathy and provides safety for people. So does vulnerability. Making sure that we can be vulnerable in the workplace and withholding judgment allows us to be safe enough to feel like we can be ourselves, warts and all. So when I'm licking my fingers in front of a painting like this, it demonstrates my goofy nature, but sometimes it's just to hide the pain and struggle inside when I don't feel safe at work. So let's try to make a difference and make people feel like they can be safe at work, even if they are struggling with mental illness. Because empathy brings about success in the workplace. Because really, like if you've got a workplace full of people struggling with depression, anxiety, stress, you're not really on the path to success, are you? You want people to show up, you want them to be motivated, you want them to participate. When I felt like I wasn't safe or there was stigma in the workplace, I would skip work. I would be demotivated, I wouldn't participate in meetings, I would just zone out. And wouldn't you rather have this? Happy, engaged, well-supported employees, people who are sharing empathy one with another, places where you work that have mental wellness instead of stigma and the difficulties that I faced. It is entirely possible to do this. Empathy can bring about wellness, safety, and success in your organization instead of stigma and other things that are too unfortunate for many people. Because I guarantee you, you are working beside someone who is struggling with mental illness. We can't go back to these kids we once were, and I'm not sure I would like that hairstyle again, but we can move forward with empathy, developing mental wellness in the workplace, and make a point to try to understand the story behind the face. Thanks.